Good day everyone, it is Caitlin and today we are making a sheer summer dress for Elizabeth. Well, welcome. So we're going to make another doll dress, our last doll dress I think, because really we're only doing this doll for 12 months and 3 dresses out of 12 months we had to dress her all the way out. It's a pretty good deal. Yeah, she's missing an arm. It is right here. This is the one that likes to pop out, so I'm not too worried about it right now. But I thought it'd be really nice to make a really sheer summer dress and maybe spruce it up a little bit with maybe a silk belt or something. Do something kind of cool. So, she has a wool dress and a silk dress. And it's like, well, we kind of need a cotton dress, but since she's a fancy doll, she doesn't really need a cotton, work dress. She could have a nicer print cotton dress, but why do that when I have cotton organdy? Made sense to me. And because I never get to do tiered skirts, I've done lots of ruffled skirts that look like tiered, like I have some with 3 little ruffles. I don't ever get to do tiered skirts because it takes so much fabric. But I'm going to just because she's a small frame, it's not going to take much fabric, and I get the chance to actually do it. So a tiered skirt is basically there's one long skirt, then a shorter skirt that's the same hair, and then another shorter skirt. Of course, you can do lots of different layers. You can do 5 or 7 or 4, whatever, but we're going to do 3. A ruffle skirt is where you have a base skirt, usually of a lining fabric, and then you do a ruffle here, and then a ruffle here, and a ruffle here. So it looks exactly the same from the outside, but with a ruffle skirt, you use less fashion fabric. But at this point, I don't particularly care. So, we're going to, how long do I need to make our skirt? 11 inches finished. We're going to cut it 12 and a half. So the first one is going to be 12 and a half long. We're just going to make it really nice and full because this is a sheer dress, and so why not? Oops. Apparently this was not cut straight. For real, okay. Here, let's just go from this end. Okay, there we go. Now I have a straight edge. So the first one's going to be 12 and a half, I said yes. 12 and a half. There's 12 and a half. Now for skirts are about 11 inches. Let me just do it where y'all can see it. Let's say 11 inches here. I can't see that either. So let's just say it's 11 inches. Cutting that in thirds about a little less than 4 inches a piece. Go ahead and cut it. Yeah, I'm going to cut it 9 inches. And I'll adjust as needed later. Okay. Yeah, that's way longer than I need that top tier, but not a big deal. Okay. I didn't figure out where my bodice pattern for this doll went to because I have no idea where it is. But I do need to cut, I think, pagoda sleeves for this one. Would be really nice. Well, should we make this a back closing or a front closing dress? We've done 2 front closings. There's really no need for this one to be a back closing dress. So maybe I can go ahead and make it a front closing one again. And if we ever revisit this doll, we'll make it a back closing dress. She does kind of need an evening dress. I just haven't gotten around to it. I actually have some scrap white cotton right here. So let's go ahead and cut out the lining. And this one to be just a little bit different. We're going to do a half high lining on this bodice. We might as well. This does need to be sewn. And we might as well go ahead and hem all these. So I'm just going to do a very narrow hem. In fact, we're going to sew them together first. A little scatterbrained tonight, but I think it'll still come together. Okay. There's this to be sewn together, that to be sewn together. And I'm just going to use a basic running stitch since I'm doing this by hand. I always find that sheer fabrics look better when they're done by hand. Okay. I have some sewing to do, and we'll return. Alright, working together on the skirt. So I do have it gauged together at the top. And I'm working on hemming the pieces. Just a basic hem stitch. Maybe made this one a little bit shorter. But it may be that once I get it all gathered up, it'll look fine. The skirt can be set aside. It's basically done until I, get bodice done. First, yeah, there's where all my needles went to. There's like 4 of them here. And I was wondering where all those went to. Okay, so I'm working on sleeves. So it's just I did a running stitch, and now I'm just over here kind of doing a hem stitch. It's a run and fell seam for the edges of the sleeves. Okay. And we're going to hem it with another hem stitch. Alright, I have a bodice mostly stitched together. This is the lining, so I'm putting together the little dart. So we're going to dart the lining, but then we're going to gather the fashion fabric. So there's the lining bit done, and the fashion fabric is here. I'm going to cut that out. Most of it's done together, but not this shoulder seam, so let's go ahead and do that. And yeah, I'm just using a running back stitch because it's easier and faster. Sorry, double running stitch. I meant to say I'm not doing a back stitch. And let's see, the back can go ahead and get pinned together. All this is going to get stitched down. Oh, because that doesn't go there. That goes here. And so the lining and the fashion fabric will be attached really only at the center fronts and all the way around the bottom. I could have also chosen to sew them together at the sides or the shoulders or both, but I decided this way, so there's no particular, hi Leo, there's no particular reason for the way I did it other than the fact that this is how I did it. Here comes Leo. Oh, you want attention? Oh, okay. You don't ever want attention. Come here. I know. So that needs to be sewn. And then we can fit in sleeves, which I have here. At which point we get to sew it to the bodice and be done. At which point we get to sew it to the skirt and be done. So here's that binding, and we're just kind of whipping it down. I already whipped down the top. Alright, very last step, which is to sew the skirt into the bodice. So I did the gauging. We're just kind of doing these little pleats, and every pleat gets stitched down, just like a woman's dress. Except the pleats are a lot smaller. Oh wait, we still need closures on this thing, don't we? Okay, I meant for that to be in the back, but apparently I wanted it to be back with the bodice, but I didn't remember that when I cut the bodice, so here we are. But let's go ahead and do the little closures. I'm thinking she doesn't have a brooch, and I really don't know how to make her a brooch. So I'm just going to do 3. 1 at the top, 1 at the... Yeah, so we'll do 3. That'll work. Just a little bit over. I don't want the hook to show through, so we're gonna do it just on the spot that's, I guess, more opaque because of the basting. Ah, here's somebody interesting. We got kittens. Move it up a little bit. This is Chili. So, our boyfriend's historic site, they have feral cats. And there are 3 little boy kittens. One of them unfortunately passed away. But we caught the other 2 and domesticated them. And they're going to be barn cats for us eventually. But they're going to hang out in the house until we have a place. So, they were feral, and so we referred to them as the spicy kittens. Because they were very angry all the time and they didn't like people. So we've named them Spices. So the one that passed away was Jalapeno. This is Chili, and his brother is Cayenne. Chili has more orange on him. And he does not like being held necessarily so much yet. We're still working on that. This is the more spicy of the 2. Let's put it that way. But they're settling in. Leo adores them. Elara may have put out a hit on me. She already hated the other kitten I brought into the house, and now there's 2 more of them. She has been hiding and completely ignoring us all. She won't come sleep with me anymore. She doesn't want to talk to me. She's kind of mad. I've told her it's only temporary. Less than a year. Most likely. Out of the 2, Chili is definitely the more spicy of the 2. Still, he's not the biggest fan of Lady yet. But Leo does adore them. And he's left Lara alone now. So he and Lara used to fight a lot because he wanted to play and Lara is just not into that. So now Leo has 2 little play buddies, so he leaves Lara alone for the most part. Well, he did attack her the other night. I think he's decided that they're his kittens and she's not a fan and growls at them. I think he was trying to protect them. Still not okay, so we're working on it, but everything's been okay for a couple days. I'm going to get the other hook sewn in, get the eye sewn in, and then we will come back together right here. And I suppose, I think we're going to make a silk belt. And by make a silk belt, I mean literally tie colored silk ribbon around her waist. It's a ribbon belt. We're going to make a bow and it's going to be off-centered and it's going to be pretty and a nice little detail. But we're going to call making it a belt. Alright, here we are. And here's the beautiful dress. That's kind of what I want it to look like. I want it to be, front closing or back closing. I know it's front closing, but okay. It's fine. I'm glad this is her dress and not mine. Simply because there's no way I would ever be able to keep this clean. Okay, she may need a few more hooks and eyes. Just because it is a little tight. I did pull it a little bit more than I usually do. Okay, so I might want to do another hook and eye there. It fits, it's just, I might want a little bit extra. Okay. So look at that. A pretty little tiered skirt. Such a 50s thing. Yeah, it's just way too small. It's so sad though, I kind of like that coloring. Oh well. Guess we're doing this. They went about twice as long as this one, I think. Cool. Kind of hoping for a really nice wide ribbon, but okay, this will do. Okay, that at least gives her a little pretty bit of color. I might cut that down just a hair. There we go. And there she is. I love tiered skirts, so this makes me incredibly happy. And I think I finally got the sleeve length right. That's awesome. Neckline is definitely better. It's further up to the top. You can kind of see where the lining ends. So it's like sheer-ish up there, which is, you know, what you see in sheer dresses. I love the little tuck detail in the back. I'm glad we did that. That is adorable. Oh yeah. And how floofy the skirt is. I mean, just look at that. It's just like the perfect 1850s skirt width on this doll. Organdy just really likes to hold itself out, so that is awesome. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Especially from the back. I think that's just adorable. Alright. Well, I think this will be the last of her dresses. We might do a basket skirt, but that'll be the last of her dresses, at least for this time around. Maybe eventually we'll come back to her. But, yeah. I don't know why it took me a really long time to get motivated to do this project, but I'm happy it's done, and I really enjoy it. I think it looks really nice. Oh, I need a sheer tiered 50s dress now. I have the fabric for it, and I'm using it for an 1880s thing, which I guess I'm okay with, but I really love tiered dresses. And this one's an actually tiered dress, like it's actually tiered. I don't usually do tiered dresses for myself. All mine are all really ruffle dresses. Okay, I take that back. I have one tiered dress. It is a 50s skirt, and it's silk, but it's only 2 tiers instead of 3, so like I did the silk on the first layer, and then the rest of it in cotton, and then the second layer. So technically that is, and then the second layer in silk. So technically that is a tiered skirt. And of course I could do that with a tier skirt like this. Like I could have just done the fashion fabric to like right here, and then done utilitarian fabric up there. Same here, this be fashion fabric and the rest of it being just scrap fabric, and that all being fashion fabric. And that's an appropriate way to do a tier skirt without a lot of skirt wastage or fabric wastage, but you're still getting a lot of bulk in the waistband, and you're still, you still are wasting fabric. Like some fabric has to go underneath there. You have a scrap fabric that's still wasted fabric. So I tend to do ruffles. I tend to do a base skirt in like brown cotton or whatever scrap fabric I have. Not really scrap fabric, but lining fabric. Lining fabric. And then I do the ruffles on top of that. Just because it wastes less fabric that way. But, and it still gives the same effect. So that's the difference between ruffled skirts and tiered skirts. It's not necessarily how many layers there are. I mean, if I had 9 layers here, people would say, oh, it's a ruffled skirt. But they were all set on the same waistband or the same, they were all gathered together. That's technically a tiered skirt, not a ruffled skirt. Whereas if it was on a base skirt and had just ruffles sewn onto it, that's a ruffled skirt. So that's the difference. But I'm quite pleased with that. I do need to put 2 more hooks and eyes on her dress, but other than that, I am very pleased with it. I think that's a really nice dress to end on. So down below there should be a link to the bodice pattern. I don't think I probably won't write directions to it because it's just basically a bodice. So you follow the video to sew the bodice and that sort of thing. I'm not going to list the directions, but the pattern will be there. So if you happen to have an 18-inch porcelain doll for the 1850s, you know, you can use that pattern. But I think in our first video I did show you how to draft a pattern for your doll. So if you have a different size doll, that should work for you. But I am going to cut out the pattern that I used for her. Anyway, thank you. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. As always, have a fantastic week, and I will see you back here on Monday.